Welcome to 10 Talks, real conversations for champions with champions, where a champion life is a 10 life. Thank you for joining our team today. I'm Carlette Patterson, your head sports life coach at the Life Training Academy, and it's our desired outcome to share our passion for sports life coaching by training you to live a 10 life. You and your life matter. Let's get coached. Hi team, welcome to 10 Talks. It is our pleasure today to introduce you to a dear friend of mine. So it's all about Murray today. This is his book. He's the author, Eat, Drink, and Be Murray. And I just want to share a bit about him. There's a lot of fascinating things, and we're going to get to enjoy this fabulous conversation. But just to give you a little bit of a heads up and let you know what's in store, Murray left school at 15. With his FSC, which is Failed School Certificate. So I don't know how many of you have those, but Murray is an honorary one that really gets to claim that, and that's an exciting place to start. Despite his lack of formal education, he was appointed to the Managing Director of CBS Records at the age of 23. He then went on to leave the corporate life and start his own business. He went on to produce a number of bestsellers, including The Great New Zealand Songbook, The Great New Zealand Cookbook, The Offering Project. Two of his productions have been featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Murray's a businessman, a family man, a sportsman, and a lover of life. And this is his story, and it's our chance to talk to Murray and hear all about Eat, Drink, and Be Murray. So Murray, welcome to 10 Talks.
Well, Carlette, this is probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life, is to be on 10 Talks. Oh my God, just when you thought life couldn't get any better, here we are.
Murray, how would you know 15 years ago when we met in New Zealand that we'd just become the best of friends and get to share life in ways that I know you could have never imagined?
That's for sure. But Carlette, we really should be, I'm going to turn the tables. We should just be hearing your story today, not my story.
Oh, you've heard my story. Yours is much juicier than mine, and you've written a fabulous book to tell us all about it, which is very fun. So
do you think by holding my book up, Carlette, you're going to shut me up? Is that what you're hoping to do here?
No, I'm just trying to sell them, Murray, because I'm getting a profit off of it. So this will pay for my next trip to New Zealand.
No, I think I'll probably give you a bottle of New Zealand wine. That would be plenty of payment for sure.
Well, you know that would make me very happy. I love New Zealand wine. So team, today we're talking to Murray about family, about faith, and all about his favorites. I mean, you are in for a treat to really get to hear just his journey, and I'm excited to share a dear friend with you. And I want you to really, first of all, give hope in terms of, we're in a time of lockdown for all of us, and certainly from a family perspective, Murray, I know that you have a daughter, Sarah, who's a nurse, and she is taking great care of people right now. And my daughter, Sarah, her husband is a nurse. And so we just want to say, first of all, thank you for the first responders. Thank you for the people that are doing amazing things right now to take care of us around the world. You're in New Zealand, and I'm here in Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I'll tell you what, they are the absolute heroes. Unbelievable. Yeah.
So let's talk about heroes. Let's just start with that. I love your philosophy about family, and I know that, family is something that's so valuable and so important to you. Tell us about where you got that, what family's meant to you, and how you've really been able to make family a priority and also be a success in your professional life.
Well, it's really interesting, in this time of, who knows when people are going to be listening to this, Carlette, but, we're in the middle of a worldwide lockdown at the moment with COVID-19. But it was my mum. She said to me just yesterday, she's 90, by the way, she lives over the back fence, and she said, staying positive is good for your immune system. And I thought, what a great, we know this, but what a wonderful reminder. And of course, Proverbs says that a merry heart is good like a medicine. And I just think we need to keep encouraging each other to stay upbeat, to stay optimistic, to keep our eyes up. And, I've just got so much to thank my mum for. I think you've even met her, Carlette, and she's just, she's 90 going on 40. And one of my mum's favorite phrases is that she doesn't like old people of any age. She's just remarkably upbeat. And so she modeled family for me. And, I could just keep talking about it, but I won't. I'm just going to answer the questions that you give me. But all that to say, my mum is amazing. Even during lockdown, we go across, we stay in our respective bubbles, of course, and we social distance. The only person that seems to be happy about social distancing is my wife, by the way. Everybody else, no, but anyway.
She's making sure that that you're honoring that in every sense of the word. No, Murray, 6 feet, 6 feet.
No, 2 meters. That's, you're right. That is 6 feet. You're absolutely right. Anyway, where were we, Carlette? Well, you're in charge. I'm going to shut up.
So you were taking us on a journey, how you dropped out of school and you became Mr. Fabulous at this point in terms of starting your business, and you started your family young and really anchored and wove the two together in a way that I think, as we're in lockdown and we're really getting back to the basics, that's why my heart was excited about connecting with you, is that you've already been family centered long before we started to make it a priority that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Anne and I had three, I remember at one, think I was about 30 odd when I had 3 children under 5, and I had a staff with 60 people. But I always took my kids to school and pretty much I've always worked school hours my whole life. School hours, of course, starts at 9 and finishes at 3. And I've got to say, Carlette, my whole life I've worked school hours. People talk about 12, 14, 16-hour days like it's some kind of badge of honor, when it's actually, they shouldn't say it, because you just think, what an idiot you are. You probably shouldn't say that. But also, it's not really how much time you spend at work. It's just, I think that I would never say I was busy. People talk about busy. I would never say I was busy. I talk in terms of being productive and unproductive, and if we're going to be at the office, let's be productive while we're there. Not having meetings. Like, I'm dead against meetings, by the way, Carlette, dead against them. That phrase, when you're taking minutes, you're wasting hours. And I think that that's very, very true. And so, I think that I work 6 proactive hours a day. How many people could say that? Most people are working 12 reactive hours a day. They've got very few proactive. So if you live a life like this, and I've been doing this for a long time, then you can come home and you can spend time with the family and you can kick a ball around. And that's just the way I've chosen to live my life. Now, I'm not going to be the richest guy in any room, but I tell you what, I just feel like the richest man in the world with what we've put together.
Yeah, I can testify to that, Murray. It's just so much love in your family. And I've had the honor of hanging out with you for about 15 years now, which is pretty special from that perspective. And being able to be, part of your family, from, I don't think you call it prom there, but some of your special dances to just all the wonderful things that the kids have done. And it's just been, a joy of mine to share in that. And as somebody running a family and running a business, you have been a great teacher of mine to really talk about family first and also being able to choose great success. So what are your winning strategies? Take us through that as you learning that very early.
Years ago, I nearly went under. Not under financially, I nearly went under emotionally. I was just carrying way too much. And somebody shared with me a scripture from Ecclesiastes, which says, better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil. Better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil. That verse saved my life and changed my life like you would not believe, because everybody's going through life with 2 hands full. And how many people have got tranquility in their life? Very, very few people would say they live a tranquil life. Better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil. And as a result of that, that was just a watershed moment for me. And I then said no to everything. The way I live my life, as I say, when it comes to business, I give 1 big yes and everything else is a no. Whereas I think people go through their life giving 100 little yeses, and they don't actually commit to any of them, but everything's going to come back and bite them because they've said yes to it. And, and so I say a big yes to one thing and I say no to everything else. And boy, does it keep life simple.
I love it. And so, Murray, I know one of your philosophies when we talk about our three-dimensional coaching, which is personally for significance, professionally for success, and philanthropically for service. We've
Yeah.
started to touch a little bit on the significance of your personal life and the success of your professional life. You taught me a really valuable lesson philanthropically. Tell us about how you manage. I know you're a champion giver. How do you manage that, all the ask that you get from a philanthropic perspective as well? Give us that winning strategy.
Look, it's a hard lesson to learn, of course, isn't it? I mean, Anne and I, anything philanthropic we've done, we've had our own charitable trust for 30 odd years. We always discuss it together. But, you know, let me say for starters, if we're able to help, we help. I counted up one day, I was at work, and I counted up that one week we were asked for aid or help 20 times in a week. That's just in one week. Hey, and it could be, I don't know, the school is after a cello or somebody wants aid in Africa. If ever we can help, we will help. But really, our heart generally has to be in it. Your money follows your heart. And so, look, I've never heard of a cause that wasn't worthy. Never. There's no such thing as an unworthy cause. Every cause is worthy. But you've got to just, I think, align your heart with the cause. And that's really how we go about giving. I don't know if that's the point that you wanted me to make, Carlette, but that's really how we operate,
Murray, I love your heart. So that's as good as it gets. Tell us about the offering. I know that's one of your projects that is near and dear to your heart, and it's certainly a philanthropic gift that you're giving the world. So just tell us about that.
The offering, I'm a great journaler. I don't know if there's one advice I've got for anybody in life, it's that they should journal. It just means the world to me. And over 17 years ago, I just wrote in my journal when I was just at home, I just said, offering is the artist of our time performing the music of all time. I wanted to take the artists that were sensational from all around the world and have them perform hymns that had gone back 1, 2, 3, and 400 years old. And my initial idea was music to feed the soul with proceeds to help the poor. And we did that in New Zealand. And the Offering Project raised a huge amount of money for the Salvation Army. It's a project I didn't personally take a penny for, or from, should I say. And it's just been one of the joys of my life just to put the hymns out there. These hymns were restoring people's souls 5 centuries ago, and they're restoring their souls today. And I wanted to take these hymns and push them into the next century where they could continue to lift people's spirits and comfort their souls and strengthen their hearts.
Well, Murray, that's a perfect example of philanthropic just being woven into every moment of your day and just part of your heart and your spirit. And I know that you've worked on the offering for years and years before it came to fruition,
Yeah.
and really just making sure that it's something that we're committed to and that we stick with it. And the thread that I hear that you're so passionate about that certainly has been a blessing in all three dimensions is music. So tell us
Yes.
where you got this love, how it started, how you got into the music industry.
Well, I got a job at CBS. My mum saw an ad in the paper for a job at CBS Records, and it paid $8,000 and came with a company car. And I thought, gee, the suckers, I'd do it just for the car. And so I started as a sales rep, and I went through a fast track at CBS Records to the point that I was running that company at just 23 years old. So I was managing director at 23 years old, the youngest managing director of CBS around the world. And then since then, we've done so many independent music productions. I was Celine Dion's executive producer. One of my music productions featured on the Oprah Winfrey show in America. And so I have a great love of music. It's my total passion. And, and I'm just so blessed to be able to combine my love of music with my occupation.
And so that really is a gift when people are able to, first of all, discover their passion and have the courage to really figure out how to make that combination. How did you do it? I hear your mom right there in your story in terms of giving you that ad, but you had to take that ad and do the work and make amazing things happen. So what worked for you and what didn't work for you?
Well, I think that, at the end of the day, no matter what business you're in, you have to do your apprenticeship. Nobody gets by nobody can skip the apprenticeship. It's just the way it is. And you think of apprenticeship as builders and plumbers and electricians. You think, oh, well, that's people that have to do an apprenticeship. But at the end of the day, we all have to do apprenticeships. And so I did my apprenticeship going through CBS, sales, marketing, promotion, managing the company. At that point, I could then run my own business. So I could take all the skills that I've learned and I could take all the contacts that I'd made and roll it out. So that's how that came about.
So Murray, as we're in a time of great change right now, and many people are, facing hardships and they could be laid off, and it's an opportunity for people to anchor into that passion and see how can they make a difference in the world. Is there a career that they've dreamed of? How did you go from being in a corporation and really having that steady paycheck and that opportunity that was somewhat consistent, that you knew you were going to show up every day and you were going to get paid, to to going into your own business? Tell us about how to do that, because that may be something that somebody could do now.
Look, that's a great question. And the answer is pretty simple. The Bible says that what man wants to build a tower, but you've got to sit down and work out if you've got enough to pay for it. In other words, when I went into business on my own, Anne and I worked out that if we could earn $27,000 a year, then we would pay for the mortgage and put food on the table. In other words, what's the minimum amount we can live on? And I think that's very, very important, because people at the moment are getting laid off from six-figure incomes.
Right.
But we don't necessarily need to earn that amount of money. So you need to really, I think, come up with a lifestyle that you can afford. We've all been living a lifestyle we can't afford for a very, very long time. So, that chicken's come home to roost.
Yeah.
And so, Anne and I were in agreement that we could live with a certain amount of money, and that was the basis that we went into our own business with. We tried to earn $27,000 a year. That was a manageable amount, because it's too much stress to go, I'm going to start my own business, we need to earn $400,000 a year. It's just too hard.
Yeah. So Murray, what I hear is a huge winning strategy is your wife as your partner, and you two really sitting down and setting up exactly what the desired outcome was, so that you were in it together and everybody was pulling for what you wanted to accomplish, rather than, feeling left out or not included.
Well, Carlette, there's another factor that's major if you want to think about it. I left the security of CBS Records and went out and started my own business the night that we had our first child, and went from my farewell function at CBS at a Flash restaurant to National Women's Hospital to have our baby. I was self-employed and a father on the very same day. Who does that? Who honors? Seriously.
That's crazy.
It is the craziest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. And so Anne, I thought, listen, it's not like we sit down and have deep and meaningfuls. Every conversation we have is like a throwaway conversation. It's like a 2-minute talk, for those couples that might be listening to this to think, well, we don't talk. Well, we don't talk either. It's about 30 seconds and that's it. The decision's made.
You can get a lot done in 30 seconds. When you're on point, mission accomplished.
Exactly. Moving on. What's for dinner?
So Murray, in terms of, let's talk about fear. Let's talk about failure. Let's talk about fear. You brought it up in terms of you left your company and you had a baby and you started off. There's a lot of people that could have a lot of questions right now about, how do I have the courage to do it? Talk to us about how you find courage and your failures, because we know that failures can create great learning opportunities and really teach us a lot. Take us into that part of your story.
Well, I don't know that there's a formula. I don't, we've done a lot of projects, a huge amount of projects, but I don't look at myself as brave or courageous. I'm enamored with the project. The project and my love for it is what fuels me. So I'm not thinking about much else other than, it's like when you have a baby, you're so proud of it and you want to show it off. And so it is with our products or services. If we're doing something gorgeous, we want to share that with the world. So the first thing is to bring to market something that your heart is in, that you're fully engaged in. And that to me is the fuel. That's the fuel. I'm not thinking about anything else but how gorgeous my baby is, i.e. my product or service, and how much I want to share it with the world. So that's my fuel.
And how do you find a team of people once you find that project and you start to team up with people to make it happen? How have you found your team?
Well, look, some people are there for the duration and other people are for the season.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way it is. It's like, um, I've worked with fantastic people my entire life, but just, we're a small business. We're not a big business. We're a small business. We're a small business doing big projects. And I want to, I always feel that, if you watch National Geographic and you'll see there's a rhinoceros, and there's a bird on the rhinoceros's back. The rhinoceros doesn't even know that the bird's there, but the bird's eating and having a field day and having everything we want. We're the bird, we're not the rhinoceros. So all I want to do is be on the back of a big company every now and again. They barely know I'm there, but it certainly can sustain me and feed my family and do all those sort of things. But I don't want to have the resources every week of having to feed the rhinoceros. I just want to feed the bird, if you know what I'm saying.
No, that's a great analogy. And so as we step into this champion change that we all have the opportunity to really reset and reevaluate, what words of wisdom would you say to a person really trying to find that passion? I mean, it's beautiful to have it, but what if you don't really know what you're passionate about?
Well, a lot of people have probably lost their way a long, long time ago. A lot of people have been working in jobs for a very long time that they may not have. So they've lost their way a long time ago. They forgot about their dreams a very long time ago. And the answer is, you've just got to come back to what is the thing that I love? What do I love to do? Because to be honest, this is a wonderful opportunity. This is the most amazing opportunity. This is the chance for a global reset, for goodness sake, and a personal reset. This treadmill that I was on that paid well, it sucked the life out of me. I never saw my family. Oh my God, there's a different way to live.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a more austere way. It's going to be a way that is less expensive. And, forget everything that you were doing last month. Forget it. It's not coming back. Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty exciting.
And it's incredibly powerful how in an instant everything can change.
Oh, but none of us who could have ever predicted this. This is beyond our wildest dreams.
Yeah. Murray, let's talk about well-being, because I feel
Yes.
like that's the chapter that we're stepping into, that we have acquired a lot of things. We've been incredibly blessed as a world, and now we're really starting to understand the power of taking good care of ourselves.
Yes.
And I want to talk about your sports career. I want to talk about that passion and just that passion to engage not only mentally, physically, emotionally, but in something that you're passionate about in sport as well. So take us through that journey.
Well, I've been a champion sailor. I won a world championship in laser sailing, and my father was a champion sailor. So, and my kids are all champion sailors. So, but look, that's my sport. However, I'm now 62 years old. I know what you're thinking, but a
fabulous 62, Murray.
Exactly. But like earlier this year, it was actually in January, I decided, man, I need to be more physically fit. So only about 3 months ago, I decided, I need to really look after myself physically more. I've never completely let myself go, but I just really decided I needed to exercise a lot more. I stopped drinking for a month. I thought it was a year, by the way, but it was only a month.
That's not one of my winning strategies, but certainly well-being for you. Go you, Murray.
But now I'm back to binge drinking heavily every night of my life, so it's all okay again.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is, I really just I decided, nobody can tell you what to do. Right. Oh, you should lose a few pounds, or you should. No. It's until you've just got to tell yourself. And just one day I thought, no, I'm going to get back on top of these things. So, I've been working out twice a day and I've lost 20 pounds. And, I just feel good again, as far as just getting into it. Life is a routine. Yeah. All our lives are a routine. Coming home, eating 3 pounds of cheese and drinking a bottle of Chardonnay, that's a routine. It's actually your routine, Carlette. I know that.
You didn't need to tell the whole world, but that's okay. I'm transparent. Go us.
but I've just tried to get
As
back
long
into
as you
the
put
routine.
some chocolate in there.
Exactly. I've just been trying to get back to the routine of regular exercise.
So, in terms of well being, certainly exercise is fantastic. Let's talk about friends and connections
Yeah.
because that is something that makes our heart so full. And tell us about that.
Well, boy, in this time of lockdown, boy, don't we miss that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, but we're Skyping a whole, not Skyping, Zooming a whole lot of, isn't it interesting that Skyping has become Zooming?
It's just, we started when I first started with you 15 years ago. Skype was everything. So it's fascinating to watch the transformation in business and
I just sort of,
technology.
I just sort of miss staring at somebody with their eyes wide open and their mouth wide open for 10 minutes while they're frozen.
Well,
The,
you too can
um,
go back to those golden days.
but listen, just friends and family. Oh my God! Look, it's everything, isn't it? Boy, does that come out of this? Our social connection has just been severed overnight, hasn't it? It's really, and if somebody's not in your bubble, you can't put your arms around them. It's sad.
Hmm.
I have no idea what the question was, by the way.
It's all about friends and family. And,
Yeah,
you answered it. It's about who's in your bubble. So
yeah.
that's the beautiful part and making sure that we're staying connected in whatever way we can. And we're learning new ways. And we're just, most importantly, from a well being perspective, we're learning to find a way to get what you really need to feel good about
But
the life you're living and what you're doing.
what's come out of this, Carlette, of course, for every single one of us, is that we have taken every single thing for granted.
Mm.
There wasn't a single thing that we didn't take for granted. I mean, boy, that is the massive reality check. You know, you know, I mean, you know, I mean, we used to go out to dinner. America, they definitely go out for dinner every night of their life. Carlette, you must be saving a fortune for goodness
Yeah.
sake. But
Yeah.
but aren't you a shocking cook? Can you even fend for yourself?
No, I do not cook. So yeah, that's a huge opportunity for me to learn to cook. But I'm back to that 3 pounds of cheese and chocolate and some, wine. So hey, who needs food? It's all overrated
Exactly,
anyway.
exactly.
So Murray, let's talk about faith. I know
Yeah.
that is one of your fundamentals in life, and certainly going through this time, we're all learning our own definition of faith and
Yeah.
whatever, however we can believe or whoever we believe. So tell us about your journey with faith.
Well, I was brought up in a Christian home, in a Presbyterian. We went to the local Presbyterian church, and like a lot of people, I gave that away when I was about 12 or 13 or 14, and then I came back to God, and then left Him, and then came back and left Him, and I did that a few times. In fact, I went to the front of a Billy Graham crusade when I was about 8 or 9 years old. So I always had a heart after God, but it was actually at CBS Records. I think a lot of people sometimes come to God or find God at a time of great need. I found God at a time of great prosperity. I had a great job running a record company. I was living on the cliff and like on the ocean, going out with the best looking girl in the world, and felt
You know what,
completely
Anne, you're very lucky that you got Anne so early.
exactly. But I just felt very lean in my spirit. That was how I would describe my life. It was like my soul was in need of water. And that's actually why I turned to God. I just felt the faith, if I can't live without a faith element in my life.
Mm.
And, and I've been solid and flaky all the way through. At
Yeah,
the
we call
moment,
that we call that being human, right? You're just
okay,
wrestling with
good.
the humanness.
Exactly. Although you bring out the flakiness in me, I've decided, Carlette.
Yeah, well, it's another one of my qualities that I didn't know I had. So, hey, team, if anybody needs a flaky coach in terms of bringing out the flakiness, well, you know
That's
where to
right.
find me.
Won't get better than Carlette.
So,
So anyway, so that's my testimony in that way.
yeah, that's beautiful. And so, Murray, let's talk about your favorites. I know that you have created many, many projects. You've shared your heart with us in terms of all the great ones. I have a collection here that I just want to share with our team. And you just tell us a little bit about the story behind it.
Probably a life highlight for me was when Oprah Winfrey named our Together collection her favorite thing of the year. And this is a 10 CD collection. Basically, Anne and I were at a hotel one night, very late, and there was a pianist playing in the lobby. We were the only people there. And I said to Anne, whoever's playing that piano, I'm going to sign. And I signed up a pianist called Carl Doy. And, it just went absolute gangbusters. And then eventually Oprah Winfrey named our Together 10 CD collection her favorite thing of, favorite thing of the year. I mean, it was extraordinary. That was probably the single biggest highlight, running my own business. There's been many, of course. And the other one, of course, was working with Celine Dion on her Miracle album. And I think you've got that there, Carlette.
Yes, I've got that one. So that's this book, and it is gorgeous. So take us through the journey of this one.
Well, that was when, I put together the children's photographer, Anne Geddes. So we used the images of Anne Geddes and we used the music of Celine Dion, and that was my idea. And I was the executive producer on that project. And, we just went to many trips to Las Vegas when Celine was performing at Caesar's Palace, and got to have dinner at Celine's home. And it was just a remarkable project. But again, that was just, everything is just a little idea. It's just a little idea. I always say, I've never had the big idea. It's just been the little idea, and one thing leads to another. Everybody wants to feel that they know the whole picture. Just make a start. That's the key to life, is starting. And most people don't start because they don't know if they can finish. Hey, we've not finished a whole lot of things, but you will never know until you start. And some things take off and some things don't. And that's life, for goodness sake. And you don't know which ones are going to work. But you'll never know if you don't make a start. So that's basically it. So that's pretty much it on the production side. And we've already talked about. Well,
Murray, I want to talk about your cookbooks, because so we've got this cookbook, we've got our birthday cake cookbook, we've got our baking book cookbook. And Murray, what I want to share about these books is how you're just telling the story of somebody that's passionate about what they do, and you've captured it. So it feels like all of your products are just that, capturing passion and storytelling.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, our productions and what we do are glorious. They're glorious. We do glorious work. And boy, that makes life a lot easier, because you're bringing together something that's gorgeous. And then you're so proud of it. And so, we did the Great New Zealand Cookbook, and that was named Best in the World. And then we did the Great Australian Cookbook. We did the Great Americans Cookbook. We did the South African Cookbook. We did the UK Cookbook. I mean, we got Jamie on board. We got Nigella on board. I mean, we got all the big stars from all around the world. So, it's just been so much fun.
But Murray, what I hear, and this is what I want our team to hear, is that it's just an idea, and you reach out to people and you go for it, and you're passionate about it. And who doesn't want to be involved in something that's about, being passionate about sharing what you love the most? And so how did you take it from idea to reaching out to the people and creating something that meant so much to you and so many people that you could share it with?
Well, I mean, first you need to have a compelling vision. And so it's like, I think it's particularly like having a conductor who's got the score. He's written the musical score. So you will have a part to play. If you're in the orchestra, whether you're in the violin, whether you play the cello, whatever you play, you'll be able to look at that score and you'll go, oh yeah, I can see where I fit there. And I can see that this is a lovely piece of music. And I can see that I can play a part within the score. So I see myself actually as the person that writes the score and conducts the orchestra, and invites them to come on board to make something magnificent together. That's how I look at my life.
Well, Murray, that just sums up the power of team. Certainly, you're playing a small role in something so much bigger than yourself, and just bringing a collection of people passionate about it. So thank you for sharing your passion, your journey, and your story. And we're excited to see what's next. Do you want to give us a glimpse into what next project you're working on?
I just know that you're wrapping it up now, Carlette, because it's happy hour. That's what I know.
Yeah, well, I'm moving into this product, which you have. So yeah, the one for wine lovers, which is one of my favorites. So yeah, I'm going to drink and listen to some great music and think of you, Murray. So in terms of, all the great advice you've given us today and the fun. So what are your words of wisdom as we sign off today for the team?
I don't have anything to wrap this up with. Go forth and multiply. How's that?
Yeah, try again.
That's it. That's all I got.
Do you have a new project? Anything new that you're working on?
We're looking at taking the Offering Project into the US. I'm very excited about that. I don't want to say anything. I'm just saying I'm excited about that. When we finally get this planet out of lockdown, we've got a lot of jobs to do.
Well, don't we all? And so, team, thank you for being on the journey to hear all about Murray and to share the beautiful friendship that God has blessed me with to be able to love Murray and Anne and their family. And we want to wish everyone well-being, be safe, be well, and enjoy just developing your passion and reaching out to the people that are on your team so that we can all come out of this so much better and really anchored in what matters.
Lots of love, Carlette.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening. We'd like to get you coached up, so head over to iTunes and Spotify and hit subscribe. And remember, a champion life is a 10 life. You and your life matter. Create a life that you love, give hope to others, and be and choose nothing but 10s. Be you, the world needs you. Go to lifetrainingacademy.com to start your training and get coached.